Yo, what's going on, guys? Your boy Pony Montana, and in this video, we're gonna be going over deep blues in Madden 22, and pretty much which ones are the best ones to use because there's a lot of zones in this game that are almost useless. And yeah, now before I get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment anything down below, or just comment FTA because it's for the algorithm and it helps push these videos out to more and more people, and it helps us grow as much as possible. Or just comment anything you guys are struggling with, and I'll try my best to make a video for you. Now, let's go over deep blues in Madden. There are 3 deep blues that we're going to talk about today, and we're mainly going to be focusing on the not match coverage, but like the cornerback deep blues. Okay, so we're just going to come out in a regular cover 3. We're going to call out a cover 3 sky, and then on the offensive side, let's just call gun cluster. And the 3 deep blues that we're going to showcase today, we have a regular deep zone, an outside third, if you will. Then you have, I'm going to base a line here. Then you have an outside quarter, which is essentially an outside third, but he stays underneath a little bit more for the most part. He stays underneath a little bit more to guard corner routes and, you know, like those deep corner routes and potentially like crossing patterns if he's not, if he's not followed up by a streak. And then there's a deep half. And a deep half is essentially, it's exactly what a cover 2 ends up looking like when it comes to a safety. So I'm going to go ahead and take my deep blue safety, and I'm going to put him in a deep half. So as you can see, they are one in the same. Now, those of you guys who have been playing Madden for a decent amount of time know that cover 2 deep blues are possibly one of the worst zones in the game. They pretty much allow almost anything and then sometimes randomly guard stuff. But before I do anything, this is essentially going to be one of the zones that you are never going to want to use if you're maining zone coverage. I will only run this if I am blitzing extremely heavy, because I just want I want a body out there pretty much to guard as much, to guard as much space as possible. But for the most part, these guys don't do a lot because even if, just to showcase, even if your guy is sitting there and he's throwing a route that is towards that outside there, you're kind of, now that's not going to be the case, but it's going to be difficult to do it with Kyler Murray because he doesn't have pass lead elite. But same thing that happens with streaks going down the sideline. You're going to be able to throw those if you have pass lead elite. There's a lot of openings when it comes to those deep halves. So for those of you guys who are looking to run which specific halves, deep halves are not it. Okay, this zone is one of the worst in the game. When it's a safety, when it's a cornerback, it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. And one of the main reasons as to why is because if someone is a better example, if someone is running verticals here, right? You see how he just motioned in? I didn't do that. That was literally because he's in a deep half. So when that happens, I'm going to click off real quick. So when that happens, a route like this will end up wide open simply because you have a route that's going to bring those zones inside. Now, the problem with this, and one of the main reasons why I think this is a terrible thing to have on your field, because right now, let me try to throw a dot here. The problem with that, and the reasoning why that is such a bad thing, is because if we go ahead and put O on a streak here, I'm going to go ahead and take the defense and make sure that there's nobody blitzing. We're going to take Amos and we're going to completely take him out of guarding anything over the top. So if you take O and just put him on a streak and you have some sort of a clear out route, you're going to be able to sit there and throw this right in the middle of the field for a touchdown. You're always going to get behind or in front of those specific routes because their assignment is to guard anything that's supposed to be within the numbers, like around this range here. If it's going up top, this is what they're going to guard. Now, granted, if you had like a deep end zone, deep out zone KO, that might work. But in this situation, those are some of the worst. They're just some of the worst zones that you could potentially run because it leaves anything on the outside wide open. Now, when it comes towards, towards running towards the inside and stuff like that, now granted, this guy was wide open because of that zone, because we didn't have anything over the top here. But it gets frustrating when you think you have a zone that's going to react to certain things. Now, the reasoning why deep halves are also so terrible is because if you have anybody who's running corner routes, and this is a staple of any Madden player, those deep blues pretty much are not going to guard anything. They're gonna guard any type of clear out route that are on the field, or they're just gonna pretty much leave them wide open. So that's how I'm actually gonna put them in a corner, in a deep blue. We got them in a deep half here. Let's go ahead and change these guys to not blitzing. So someone is running corner routes here, and that deep blue is gonna leave that wide open. And that's one of the biggest issues when you're running those deep halves. It's just, you're just asking yourself to leave zones wide open. Now, the only time you guys are going to be able to run those deep halves on the field is if you have your zone drops adjusted. So if you have your zone drops adjusted to such flats up between the 20 to 30, and then curl flats up between the 0 up to the 10. So obviously you adjust accordingly depending on what your opponent is doing, or how far of a distance it is to the first down marker, and you're going to adjust to whatever they're potentially playing. Because if you're trying to double Mabel, and if you guys don't know what that is, double Mabeling is when you have two kind of zones to pretty much guard the outsides. That's possibly the only chance that you guys have, or the only potential chance that you guys should be trying to utilize that deep half of a zone, because those are pretty much going to be the only things that are going to be able to guard, a curl flat or anything like that. So you got these routes, and I'm going to double Mabel with these guys, but I'm going to put O in a... I put O on a streak here, so that the deep half is going to guard that, and then I have a flat route that's underneath, that's going to be a 0 to 5 yard flat, and then I have my curl flat pretty much being able to guard that. So the safety is going to come straight down, and the linebacker is going to hopefully guard the corner route over the top. So again, let's just call the play here. As you can see, the deep half follows, and then we ended up getting under pressured, but we can always show the instant replay on that. So that's pretty much the only thing that the deep half is good for, is simply just following anything that's over the top within their vicinity. Okay, so within this area, if there's no clear out route, that route's gonna absolutely that route is absolutely gonna destroy. And as you can see, because this linebacker was too slow, he was too slow to actually get out there. So again, deep halves they end up being useless, because again, zones in the game just are very, very hard to come by. They're very hard to pretty much play in Madden. So if I were you, I'm calling regular deep thirds, because outside quarters are just as bad. They're not just as bad, it's just they leave things open over the top if you don't have a secondary option to guard over the top. And they're not as bad, because they will also help guard like a corner route. So say we have something like this, they'll also help guard a corner route. So that R1 route, as you can see, I'm just going to show the replay on this. Our cornerback was pretty much he was on an outside quarter, but because we had him there, he ends up holding on to the corner route. And potentially, if they have high enough zone coverage, and they have good enough stats, they'll jump a route like this. Unless there's like a clear out option that will force that person to like drift back a little bit, this route ends up getting jumped. And I'll actually throw this against the computer here, just to showcase it for you guys. So we got him we have him in a quarter, and we have our deep half over the top to help guard, and we have a deep blue out there. So again, like I said, if they have good enough stats, they might be able to make a play on that, and that is a deep blue. So again, if you're gonna run a quarter, you have to have the help behind it, or else you're gonna be putting yourself in a horrible position to be bombed over the top. And when that situation happens, you're gonna get very, very frustrated. So if I were you, I'd utilize your basic outside third or the quarter flat. Those are the only two that I would potentially tell anybody to use. But if I do utilize those, these are going to be the adjustments that I make. Is I'm going to have something over the top, or I'm going to try to double Mabel if I'm using the deep half. But if I were you, I'm simply just putting my guy in an outside deep third. So again, the difference in what they look like. Let me take the safety out of the middle so you guys can see the deep blue out here. So you got deep zone here. You got an outside quarter that looks like a regular deep third, and then the deep third just has like a bigger circle that looks like, and then you have your deep half that is going to be, you know, you're selling out pretty much. You're selling out for the streak that goes, you know, up the field, instead of trying to guard or help or have any type of help with corner routes, deep corners, crossers, etc., etc. This is your difference between your deep blues. My name is Pony Montana. As much as I'm talking crap about, you know, the deep halves and stuff like that, it's simply because I know cover 2 in this game it's just junk. It stinks. But again, if you have the right adjustments behind it, the problem isn't the deep halves. The problem is the clouds and the curl flats underneath it. I showcased you a 25-yard cloud flat that didn't get to that. It didn't get to the sideline. So that's a bigger issue. That's a bigger question to be had, is what curl flats and cloud flats zones should you guys be rocking? Because obviously it didn't work at all when I ran it in this play. And it's one of the reasons why people are utilizing safeties and cornerbacks in spots that they shouldn't be, just to help out a little bit. Hopefully this video helps you guys pick whichever zones you guys are trying to rock. I'm currently rocking zone myself. I do have an ebook out. It's for my Twitch subs. So if you guys are, you know, tuning into the Twitch stream, just subscribe and then join the Discord. If you guys just click on !Discord in the Twitch chat, you guys will be linked right to where the Discord is, and it'll be in the sub tips tab. So that, and I'm running zone in there. So if you guys want like a full zone breakdown, that is where it's going to be at. My name is Pony Montana, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little knowledge rant about zones in Madden 23. And if you guys are struggling with anything, leave it down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to find something for all of you. I'll see you guys in the next one, man. As always, 2 fingers, deuces, and peace out.